All right, we are live. Good evening again, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. My name is Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. I'm going to be spending the next 50 minutes with you or so, give or take 5 minutes. We're going to go over what this business is all about, what this opportunity is all about. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in around the country on our live stream. After the presentation, you're welcome to come speak to me, ask me any questions that you might have, interrogate me. I don't think I've been stumped by any question yet in the 2 years, so I should be able to answer everything that you throw at me. All right, so let's begin. As you can see, DuePoint is a division of a company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia is a registered insurance company that's been operating in the financial space for almost 7 decades. So since 1952, we don't share offices with them. They're just down the road from us here in Randburg, but that's their building in the background, the branding that they use. The FSP number that we operate under is that one over there. That's very important. You'll notice in the foyer above the water cooler. Outside, we've got all these certificates up on the wall. Those are our Financial Services Board licenses. So go take a look at those. That's our stamp of credibility. It's our license to operate in financial services in South Africa. So we've got a long and short-term insurance license. We've got an investment license. We've got our financial services provider license on display. We've also got accreditation with direct marketing and the Direct Selling Association. So go take a look at those. We listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange under a group called Conduit Capital. So all the information's on our website if you want to do any further perusing. The executives and the managers are the people that you see up on screen, starting with the 3 characters on the far left. These are all registered chartered accountants, starting with Mr. Brendan Benfield, who heads up this division. He's our senior executive. He is very experienced in financial services. His entire family are pretty experienced in financial services because his father has been involved in insurance very successfully for the last 50 years. His father's a professor of insurance, taught at Wits for 25 years. His father founded Clientele Life, founded the IFA, founded a host of other businesses globally. They've had a lot of success in the space. Brendan and his brother Stuart, so he's got another brother Stuart. They followed in their father's footsteps. Both chartered accountants, both got involved in insurance, and they together founded a business down the road from us called Prime Meridian Direct, or PMD. So you'll all know PMD because PMD does advertising on a daily basis on almost every channel that exists, and they've had a lot of success there too. I think PMD is probably the 4th biggest short-term insurer in the country at the moment. That's in the space of less than 15 years that they've achieved that. So great insurance and finance pedigree in Mr. Benfield. Then we've got Tim and Stacey. They look after the financial and the auditing, the accounting aspects of our business. Tim is very experienced in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about 15 years in a fairly senior position. Stacey's very experienced in auditing. She's only done auditing all her career with Deloitte. She worked here as well as overseas. So those are the boring accountants. Then myself and Jane, we're the more colorful individuals here. If you're going to speak to anyone, come speak to us. The accountants, they don't speak much. Struggle to put sentences together. You've got to speak to them in Excel formulas. So Jane is very experienced in direct marketing or network marketing. She's actually from the UK. She's been in South Africa for about 10 years, but she brings very important experience to our business because even though we're an insurance company, our growth is very much dependent on our ability to work in the network marketing space because that's where all our growth happens. And so Jane brings international experience to our team from that perspective. And then myself, I've been working in advertising for over 20 years. I ran my own digital agency for about 15 of those years. Fairly successfully. I say successfully because we paid everyone's salaries. We didn't retrench anybody in 15 years. So I can say successful, right? But I walked away from the business. Nonetheless, I'll touch on why. But these are the senior staff of DuePoint. We've got our client service staff. We've got admin staff, support staff. The mandate of the staff at DuePoint is to support everybody that joins us in this business. So we want to see you as effective and as happy as possible in this business because that's the only way we can be profitable as a company. And so we do everything to support you. Everything in this business is to support the people that join us in this entrepreneurial endeavor. So you can go do a bit of background check on us. You can Facebook me if you really want to. Don't bother trying to Facebook the boss. He doesn't have a Facebook profile. But the rest of us, I think we fairly exposed on the internet. So go do a background check. Credibility is very important, right? It's a fundamental step that you trust the business we're going to be speaking about. You trust the individuals that are involved in this business. Very important. All right, so This, you can already see, the first word on the slide is debt, so you know we're going to talk about fairly negative factors. We typically speak about the driving factors or driving behavior as to why people would be interested in entrepreneurial opportunity. You hear in the evening when you could be at home with family, enjoying cooking dinner, spending time with your kids or whoever, but we are forced into a position, because I don't think people like to work extra. You're forced into a position where you have to look for something extra, something additional, something to mitigate the risk that we all find ourselves exposed to at the moment. So we look at the economy, very high interest rates, very high in food inflation. We're hoping the economy comes right, but nothing to hope on for 2018. You speak to the economists, they don't have any great outlook currently. And we feel it personally when you look at your finances at the end of every month. You will start to notice, and you will have noticed for a long time already, that your salary has been falling away from what the cost of living is increasing by every year. So we've got this huge gap between typically what salaries are going up by every year and what the cost of living is going up by every year. And unfortunately, we try to remedy the situation with that four-letter word you see on the screen, debt. But that certainly doesn't remedy our situation. It actually exacerbates it. And we are exposed to a plethora of different debt instruments, tons of them. We often criticize the economy that we don't save enough, we don't invest enough. And that's fairly true. But in the circumstance that we find ourselves in, when your salary is just falling behind what the cost of living is every single month, what opportunity do you have to fix that situation? And the problem really proliferates when you get to retirement, because when you get to retirement, you're going to be forced to ask yourself the question, what have I done in the last 40 to 45 years to place myself in a position where I can have a dignified retirement? And unfortunately, there are very, 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 very few South Africans that find themselves in a position where they're financially independent by the time they get to retirement. And the majority of them, when I say majority, I'm talking at over 90% of South Africans will get to retirement with a realization that they have to downscale their lifestyles to such a degree that they can survive being a pensioner. They can survive retirement. They might be forced to go look for a job again with the other 10 million people looking for jobs. You become a burden to your children, burden to your families, just so that you can get by at retirement. And that's certainly what we don't want for the people in this business. And so the opportunity was born out of all of that negativity. We saw an opportunity as a business to create a platform that the average South African can engage in. We call it the DuePoint system. And it is a system that has a couple of aspirations in mind for the people that join us. You might be thinking, well, I'm just here to earn extra cash, but money, we know, is just a means to an end. So the end for us, or certainly the aspirations for us, is to see people in this business really start thinking differently about money. Our first aspiration is to see people aspire to becoming debt-free. Right? Who aspires to becoming debt-free? I suspect nobody, because none of us have got the opportunity. Very few of us have the opportunity to actually do anything about the debt. We're just trying to survive month to month. But in this business, hopefully the additional income that you start creating will be put towards paying off your debt faster than what you would have in the past. And what that does is it empowers you towards our second aspiration. And that's really to create wealth. That's ultimately what we want to do. We want to create wealth, right, in our lifetimes. But you can only create wealth if you've paid everyone else off. You can't become wealthy if you owe other people money all the time. So we pay our debt off first, we start creating wealth. We do that through the ownership of assets or investments that appreciate. And then finally, the third aspiration is just to be happier, not depressed on a Thursday night at a business presentation in January after the December crunch, right? We want to be happier. We don't want to be stressed. We don't want to be in a debt cycle. We don't want to be worrying about finances. We don't want to be worrying about our retirement. We want to be optimistic about our futures, and that's really why we're here this evening, is to change that circumstance for ourselves. Our guests here this evening, or those who have tuned in, have the opportunity to join DuePoint. You contract with us, and once you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers. Right? So that's what you'll be called, a wealth engineer, because that's exactly what you'll be doing here. And your primary task as a wealth engineer is to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. And I'll show you what one of those look like. But pretty much it's you introducing people to DuePoint, and our online platform, our DuePoint system, will facilitate the sale of products to those people. And that's basically, in a nutshell, how this business works. The benefits for you is that you get to create additional income, obviously, right? You're not here for the free tea and coffee. Hopefully not. I hope things aren't that bad at home. But you've got to drive to Bryanston for coffee. But what's important to note is the nature of the income that you produce is recurring. Now, some people refer to this as passive income. I always refer to my father's terminology or his description of it. He said, and he explained this to me when I was very young. I thought it was a very appropriate description. He said, it's the ability to make money while you're sleeping. Did you know that was possible, to make money while you're sleeping? Right? I didn't think so. I didn't know what he was talking about when he told me you can make money while you're sleeping. But that's what we do. It's actually inherent to insurance companies. We get to create passive income, a recurring income through a book value that we develop. And this is the reason why I walked away from my business after 15 years, because I came to the realization in our business, which is very much a service-based business, being an agency, that we really struggled in that industry to create recurring income. So because we were service-based, we had to work. Right? We sold hours. We were like lawyers or plumbers or electricians or hairdressers. Unless you were working, you weren't earning money. In this business, you have the opportunity to rid yourself of that time constraint. You can create money while you're sleeping. You'll wake up in the morning and you'll have created money overnight. And that's the opportunity that we get, one of the benefits that we get to grab in this business. Power duplication. So we harness power duplication. This is leverage. Again, hoping that you can rid yourself of this time constraint. Because what leverage is, it's your ability to multiply yourself, to duplicate yourself. And we do this through the opportunity of building channels of distribution. So building these channels of distribution is really you going out and finding other like-minded individuals to collaborate with you. Because if you're doing this business on your own, if you were a hairdresser, for example, you could only bill the time that you were spending, investing into your business, right? But we've created leverage in the business. So we give you the ability to go out find other like-minded individuals that will collaborate with you. So if you've got 20 individuals helping you that you've brought into the business, now you've got 20 times you being invested into the business. So if it's 1 hour a day, now you have 20 hours a day being invested into this business. So you get to harness power duplication. Very important. Flexi time. So you get to choose when you want to do this business. It's completely up to you. You can do it every Thursday night if you want, if it suits you. You can do it on Sundays. You can do it on the weekend, weekdays. You get to decide what that looks like for you, right? So completely flexi time. There's no startup capital or registration fees in our business. So did anyone notice boxes of milkshakes or vitamins or any product outside that we expect you to go home with this evening? I don't have to invest any money in products, right? This is a great benefit. You should be happy. Yes, some high fives happening in the back there. So we make the business as risk-free as possible for people to engage with. There's no qualifications or experience required in our business. I often tease everybody. I asked if anyone dropped their CVs off at reception. Anyone even bring their CVs with them tonight? No one. Sure, you came here with low expectations, right? Fortunately, we don't care about that. It's also notable because we work in financial services, and if you know anything about financial services, you'll know that the regulation is extremely onerous, to the point where about 90,000 financial advisors left financial services because it was such a pain in the behind to operate in. So we've actually excluded you from the obligation around all that regulation that we face, and that's a great thing because you get to enjoy the benefit of being involved in financial services without that onerous obligation. You get to build an asset. Now this is, for me, probably the most important benefit on the screen. This is, if I was making a decision and I was unsure, this would tip it for me, because this is actually the antithesis of employment. In employment, and perhaps we don't realize this, in employment you'll work for somebody else for 40, 45 years, building up someone else's asset. Right? We think, oh, they're doing us a favor because they're paying us a salary. Right? Well, perhaps you can look at it that way. But what you have to understand is in employment, very, very seldomly do people in employment get to enjoy the upside of a business that does well. Right? So what does that mean? That means the company that you're working for, if it suddenly does well, does your shareholding in the business go up? Does your pension scheme suddenly increase in value? Do you get a bigger dividend check every quarter? Does your boss say, great, everyone gets extra money this month? No, that only happens for perhaps the executives, maybe senior management, maybe some of the top sales staff in the business. For the rest of us, it doesn't. We just get that salary, that's it. And you're lucky if you get a salary increase once a year. That's in line with inflation. Unfortunately, we've got to put up with a downside. Right? So if there's downside in the business, we've got to put up with that. So if the business is struggling, we get told, sorry, you can't get a raise this year. Even though food's gone up 10% this year, sorry, we can't. The economy, blah, 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 the industry, whatever. If the business does really badly, then we've got to put up with things like retrenchment, right? So in this business, I said it was the antithesis. In this business, you're building an asset that you have legal tender over. So this is a channel of distribution that you will own. In the last year, we've had plenty of wealth engineers selling their channels of distribution because they have value, right? Because they create recurring income. Your channel of distribution can pay you beyond retirement. It can pay you beyond your life. You can pass wealth on to the next generation through the value that you build in the recurring income that exists in your channel of distribution. So you should be happy to sacrifice time into this business. There's no selling involved. Majority of people are terrified of selling, mostly because they're really bad at it. Fortunately in this business, there's no selling required. The only thing required in this business is for you to go expose other people to the opportunity. Expose them. Not sell to them, not talk about our products. Expose them. It is the number one commodity that exists in today's economy, is financial opportunity. That's what people want to find out about and hear about, right? And that's going to be your job to tell people that it exists. Do you want to get involved or not? The nature of our products, I joked, I said that we don't have vitamins or milkshakes waiting outside for you. The nature of our products are financial in nature. It means they're intangible. It means they don't have expiry dates at the bottle of the bottle. You don't have to bring your uncle's bucky to take stuff home. You don't have to invest in boxes of product. You don't have to fight for space in the garage at home, right? And there's certainly no selling. And so we make the products as convenient as possible. But your success in this business is very much predicated on your ability to build these channels of distribution. So I said I'll show you what one looks like. It begins with you. So there you are. You become a wealth engineer. Picture yourself as the CEO, the MD of your channel of distribution. And you're going to go out. And my hope is that you will go out and find like-minded individuals that have the resources to thrive in this business, right? People that you can depend on, people that you see being effective in this business. I want you to go out and be desperate. I've been asked, can I get a DuePoint gazebo because I want to put it on the street and just speak to people that walk past? No, right? You want to bring in the most effective people you can find into your business because that will duplicate into the rest of your channel. So if you're successful in bringing a few people into the business at the beginning, they are going to start collaborating with you. They will go out and start doing exactly the same thing as you. They will find people building their own channels, right? And in turn, your channel. And your channel can take on this natural growth, this organic growth that takes place. And this is where the leverage and the power duplication takes place. Because this is what your channel could look like purely based on bringing 5 people into the business. And you can go speak to anybody. Speak to some of our wealth engineers that have been here a long time. Ask them what size their channels are. And then ask them how many people they got on their first point. That will tell you what leverage exists in the business, right? And so my hope is that in a few years, after having built a sustainable business, in other words, a quality business, that you have the opportunity to rely on DuePoint income and less so on your salaries. Right? You could be in a position where you can decide that you want a 3-month holiday because you know DuePoint will be paying you a return every single month while you're sitting on the beach. That's why we build businesses that pay us while we're sleeping. Right? That is the point, so that we can rid ourselves of that time constraint. So that's what a channel of distribution looks like. I'll warn you, this is our disclaimer slide, our warning slide. You might be wondering why we've got a picture of a ballerina's legs on the slide, a very appropriate analogy, because when we think about entrepreneurial opportunity, and a lot of people do this, they have this romantic notion of what being an entrepreneur is all about. Because all you see is the upside of entrepreneurship, typically, right? So if you see a successful entrepreneur, if you know anyone that starts their own business or runs their own business that's successful, you can be a little envious, right? They might have a nice car, a nice house, even the dog looks nice, right? Everything looks nice about their lives. That's the ballerina's foot, the professional dancer. But in the background, in real life, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And you can go speak to anyone who's tried to start their own business. They will all tell you it requires blood, sweat, and tears, tenacity. You have to have a chip on your shoulder about what you want in this life and grab it aggressively, right, without giving up. And if you can have that mindset, well, then I can say to you, success is waiting for you. And I'm hoping DuePoint is that vehicle for you, because we make it as accessible as possible. You don't have to have 3 degrees to get the top job to be successful. Anyone can come into this business and make a success for themselves, right? Equal opportunity. Entrepreneurship is always about equal opportunity. It's about work ethic that pays off. So I don't want you to be fooled thinking, oh, this presentation I've been invited to, I'm scared because I think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. I don't want to be involved in a get-rich-quick scheme. But from experience, I think the majority of people wish they could get rich quickly. Right? That's the unfortunate truth. People don't like to work for it. So this is our warning slide, right? Everyone's been warned. Let's get on to how you earn in this business. There are 2 ways to earn. One is through our returns program. The second is through our rewards program. So I'm going to discuss the rewards, the returns program first. That is what we pay wealth engineers at the end of every month. It is the recurring income, the most important aspect of our business, the recurring income that you build. So we pay a base return fee of R27.50 for every product that you have in your channel, right? But that's dependent on where the product lies in relation to you. So remember the first 5 individuals you introduced to the business, they became wealth engineers and took out one of our products. That product lies on point 1. So everyone you introduce to the business always falls on point 1. And on point 1, we actually pay you double the R27.50. You end up earning R55 for every product on point 1 every single month. Remember, it's recurring income. It's not once-off income. It's recurring income. And so your point 1s go out and they start building their businesses, and that product lies on your second point in your channel. And again, in your second point, you earn R55 for every product. And then to point 3, point 4, and as your channel starts to grow, point by point, you see the multiplier steadily begins to drop all the way to point 8. At point 8, we don't limit you at point 8, right? So the 4% remains 4% from point 8 in theory forever. We've already got businesses that are at point 30 in the space of 22 months. They're sitting at point 30. Where can you be in 20 years? So what's important to note is that we don't limit you on how big your channel can get at DuePoint. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. The accountability will always fall on your shoulders. So this is the mechanics of the returns. The next question we typically get is, well, how much money do people earn in this business? Give me an idea of whether I traveled to Bryanston, whether it's been worthwhile petrol money. Right? I want to understand how much money can people make in this business. So what we did was we built this path to success. It is a projection over the next 5 years on a premise. The premise is a growth formula. So the growth formula says, if you can bring 3 people into the business in your first month and then 2 people into the business every consecutive month, right? So we take January, for example, it's your first day here, you become a wealth engineer. Just for sake of the example, you bring 3 people in January, and then February you bring 2 people. And then in March you bring another 2 people. In April you bring another 2 people. And you keep bringing 2 people every month into perpetuity. You can expect to earn these numbers. R2,500 after 6 months of work. Someone show me disappointment on their faces at the R2,500. I know you're disappointed in your heads. You're thinking, R2,500 after 6 months of work in this business. This must be a low example that he's showing us, right? It isn't actually. What we do, what we make the mistake of thinking is that, well, I want to earn money faster, right? I also don't give money the value it deserves. Because as a consumer, all of us consumers, right? We think of money in terms of the spend value that it has. Wrong way to think of money, unfortunately. What we need to, and this is where when I discuss this paradigm shift that I hope we achieve in DuePoint, is for people to think differently about money. I'm going to illustrate it for you. Because yes, R2,500 doesn't buy you much today. But look at the value that it can give you in terms of leverage if you look at it from time-based. You're either on the good side of compound interest or you're on the bad side of compound interest, right? Which side of interest or compound interest do you think the bank is on? The bank is on the good side of compound interest, right? We're all on the bad side. We need to flip that. So after 6 months, R2,500. Here we have an example of someone that's got R1 million bond. They owe the bank R1 million. They've agreed through a bond contract to pay. Let's say they get a prime plus 2 evaluation on the bond. They're going to be paying back about R11,500 a month to the bank for the next 20 years. So I'm 40 today. I get to pay that bond off for 20 years. When I'm 60, I make my last final payment on my little townhouse in Bryanston for R1 million and finally become a homeowner. Can I even call it a homeowner if I just own 50 square meters in Bryanston? A townhouse owner. That's what I become. Right? Just in time. Just before I retire. But If I join DuePoint at 40 and 6 months later with some success, I'm earning 2,500 rand. Instead of spending the money, I decide to pay my debt off sooner. Remember our first aspiration, pay your debt off as quickly as possible. So I listened to Rob. I said, okay, let's put the money into the bond. Right? Let's pay the bond off faster. 2,500 rand on a R1 million bond will pay that bond off in nearly half the time. In 11 and a half years, at the age of 51, I'll become a homeowner instead of 60. It's only half the time. Do you know how much money that saves you in interest, in repayments you would have made if you didn't do that? Any guesses from our guests? The wealth engineers know this example well. It saves you nearly the full value of the asset that you financed. It saves you close to R1 million in repayments with little 2,500 rand, which is potentially 6 months away. After 12 months, you're already at over 100,000 rand in annual recurring income. Who would like a 100,000 rand check at the end of every year? It's only 3 people that generally put their hand up. The rest of you are so rich that 100,000 is not even going to make a dent into the debt that you have, right? Okay, we keep going because it gets bigger, right? This is why I say we need to have the patience, the tenacity to get there, because at 24 months you could be earning close to 30,000 rand a month. And that's a big jump, right? In 24 months. You keep going. After 36 months, you're close to 50,000 rand a month. You want to look at leveraging money in terms of your debt? Here's an example of a 5 million rand bond, right? 5 million rand in debt. You're earning about 36,000 rand a month. At month 30, put that money into your bond. You'll pay a 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. So at 47, I could potentially pay off a 5 million rand house. So I buy another house. I've paid my debt off. Or else we pay your debt off, start creating wealth. So I decide I'm going to invest in property. So I go buy another 5 million rand house. I keep putting that same 36,000 rand in. At the age of 54, I've paid off my second house. I buy a third house. At the age of 61, I've paid off my third house. Brendan puts me out to pasture. He says, I'm tired of you doing presentations. You can retire now at 61. I retire with 15 million rand in property assets. I live in one house. I'm renting out 2 houses at about 60, 70,000 rand a month, plus what DuePoint's paying me every month, without having to go to work anymore. I can do what I want. I could sell all 3 houses, buy a beach house for 15 million rand if I wanted to, right? Or at month 30, I could have got really excited, wanted to show all my friends how successful I am and buy a brand new Porsche. Because 36,000 rand will finance a 2 million rand car. That's a decision we make every single day, right? Might be smaller than that, but that's the decision we make every day. We keep going. At 48 months, nearly 70,000 rand a month. After 60 months, 5 years away, you created for yourself about 1 million rand in annual recurring income. Who would like a 1 million rand check at the end of every year? 1 million rand. 1 with 6 zeros on the check. One day, we've got wealth engineers heading in that direction. There are a few sitting here already, realistically looking at getting that 1 million rand check every single year. Right? It's possible. We have to make the decision. We've got to be happy with the 55 rand per product. Start there. That's where we have to start. This is all academic, so you can argue, well, this is just an example the accountants came up with, and I'll agree with you, it is. And as an example, you can do less than the example. You can bring 0 people every month. Right? Anyone can become a wealth engineer, but to build the business, you've got to bring people successfully into the business. So you can do 0 plus 0 every month. Right? Or you can do more than 3 plus 2, because that's the option. I don't dictate to you how much you have to do. That's the decision you make every single morning. Right? That's the onus that you place on yourself on a monthly basis. And so we showcase wealth engineers that have shown great success in our business, regardless of whether they're keeping up with 3 plus 2. So Nick and Shani, you can see, if you look at the numbers when they joined, where they were at, you can see that they're a little bit behind 3 plus 2. They didn't get to 2,500 rand after 6 months. It took them nearly 10 months. Wouldn't you have given up? I might have given up, to be honest. My time's very valuable. Right? How much money do you need in the bank for the bank to pay you 2,500 rand in interest every month? So your investment. That's the question you're going to ask yourself when you get to retirement. You're going to look in the bank account and go, look, after 40 years, this is how much money I've saved. This is the interest I'm going to earn while I'm retired. So how much? Everybody should know this, because I assume everyone here is going to retire. How much money do you need in the bank to earn 2,500 rand a month? 500,000. Right? See, we need to give money true value. They created the equivalent of 500,000 rand sitting in a bank account in the space of 10 months. That's why they didn't give up. As Jack Delamo has been here for a year, in November he was at over 8,000 a month. You can see the jumps. He doubled his business between June and November. Don Landon in PE, also been here a year. He was at over 11,000 by November last year. Motlo Tsona from the Free State joined in April, May, June, July. Created equivalent of 1 million rand sitting in a bank account in the space of 90 days. Right? Do you think it was based purely on her efforts in the business? Most certainly not. She collaborated with some very effective people that she brought into the business. She did not put a gazebo up on the street corner and say, anyone who wants a job, come see me. That's how some people think this business operates. Right? She went and handpicked very select people to come into her business. And it's been very effective for her. We've got thousands of people joining this business every single month, creating additional streams of income for themselves. And everyone is running a different race. Look at those numbers. Look at the slides. Everyone is running a different race. Decide what you want out of the business. I have not dictated to a single one of those people. They all decide what they want to take from the business. I'll put it on a platter. You decide what you want to grab off the platter. So this is our returns program. This is the recurring income that you build for yourself every single month. I told you there was a second way to earn, and that's through our rewards program. So we call it the XP Rewards Program. It works like this. You become a wealth engineer. So you can see it as an incentive program of sorts, right? All these companies are doing incentive programs. So this is like an incentive program. It rewards you with the success that you have in your business, over and above what we pay you every month. So you become a wealth engineer and you start engaging in certain things. Like if you come to a presentation, we give you 500 XP. If you bring a guest with you, we give you 500 XP. If you log into your app, we give you 25 XP. If you come to training on Saturday, we'll give you XP. If you watch a training video on your app, we'll give you XP. And there's 20 different ways to earn XP. And as you start collecting more XP and your channel starts to grow, right, we reward you along the way. So if you become a wealth engineer tonight, you will start out as rank 0 because you're not important to us. We don't care about rank 0s. But the moment you acquire 1,000 XP, right, and you have 4 products in your qualified channel, suddenly you become rank 1 and you get a once-off 55 Rand reward. Once off. It's not recurring, it's just once off. You never see that 55 Rand again, right? We start very small. Can you get excited about 55 Rand? Don't lie to me to my face again. Can you get excited about 55 Rand? Probably not. But let me tell you something. If you can get to rank 1, you can get to any rank in the XP Rewards program because the activity is exactly the same. The person that got to rank 1 is doing exactly the same thing as the person that gets to rank 20. They're doing the same thing every day, right? So you can get to any rank if you get to rank 1. And you see the rewards get bigger and better. There's a 20,000 Rand check waiting for you, a 50,000 Rand check. We give tools to our wealth engineers that help them build their channels more effectively. So this is Patrick and Pumi at rank 5. All our rank 5s get this Lightning USB drive. It's a wonderful device because it plugs into anything. It can plug into cell phones, into tablets, into laptops, computers, TVs. Right? Everyone's got different devices. So this can plug into everything. That's great because we've got all our video collateral on there. And Patrick and Pumi can show people our DuePoint opportunity videos, our presentations, regardless of what device is around them. At rank 7, we get these very special business cards manufactured for our rank 7 wealth engineers. That cost us 12,500 Rand per set of cards. Think about that. Would anyone go and spend 12,500 Rand for one set of business cards? There's no ink on these business cards. None. It's all gold. The sides are gilded in gold like they did to the Bibles in the old days. The logo is foiled in gold on the front. Why would we spend so much money on business cards? Because I'll tell you now, in business, business cards play a very important role in terms of credibility and first impressions. Right? Especially when you're talking about a business that no one's ever heard of. Because we don't do any marketing and advertising. People don't typically know about DuePoint. We're not on SABC3. But when you put a 12,500 Rand business card on the table, and you can go look at the business cards in the merchandise cabinet, I've never seen anyone with business cards. In 20 years of advertising, No one's come close to business cards like these. Your credibility will go up because your business card's about 50 times more expensive than the person that you're speaking to. Right? It allows you opportunity, perhaps even a couple of minutes, just to explain what DuePoint does. These are tools to help you be more effective at building your channels of distribution. At rank 9, this is actually one of the only recurring ranks. So this one happens every single year. When you get to rank 9, you'll enjoy this every single year. It is an all-expenses paid trip to our international conference, which is 7 days away, to a 5-star luxury resort. We fly business class with you and your family every single year. Think about that for a second. Does anyone flown business class before? Anyone flown business class every single year? No one. Yeah, maybe one day. Right? So take a look, because we've actually just come back from our rank 9 trip. So take a look what we got up to at the end of December.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sound where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
So half those rank 9 wealth engineers got to rank 9 in less than a year. One got there in 5 months. You guys, our guests, people that are new to this business, you've got 11 months to get to our next rank 9 trip. We do this every single year. There's no time limit on getting to rank 9, so there's no cutoff. Right? If you don't make it this year, you get to qualify for next year. If you don't qualify next year, there's one every year waiting for you. You decide how quickly you want to get there. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 buying our wealth engineer. At rank 11, a brand new car. Cash, in your name, no debit order at the end of the month for you. That is the best car to own, one without a debit order at the end of the month, right? So that's our rewards program. That's a look at the rewards you get along the way. And you can certainly see we have fun. We're at rank 11, it goes up to rank 28, right? So we often say, this is just the beginning for our wealth engineers. I know it's hard for some of us to believe that it's just the beginning, but we have to actually extend our visions to realize that there's so much more value that you can get out of this business. We've mapped out what we think is the next 30 years in this business. And perhaps when we get to rank 28, we'll have to extend it up to rank 50. Right? There's a third way to benefit as a wealth engineer, and that's what we call our Wealth Quest. So Wealth Quest is a challenge that we issue our wealth engineers every month. So it's a monthly incentive, runs from the first to the last of the month only. January's is called Hit 2018 Sprinting. We challenge our wealth engineers to bring 20 people into their business in this month of January. So if you can bring 20 people onto your first point in this month and they all successfully pay their debit orders, that's always important, we will give you an extra 10,000 Rand at the end of the month. Plus you'll probably get to about 1,100 Rand in recurring income, and you'll probably be at least, you'll have surpassed rank 2 already. You can do that before the end of the month if you want to. Right? So that's on offer. We get asked the question, how does DuePoint afford all of these things? The returns, the rewards, the wealth quests. So traditional insurance companies spend a lot of money on marketing. So they've got very large budgets for advertising, right? Traditional companies, and they advertise on all sorts of mediums and various channels. At DuePoint, we don't spend a cent on advertising. You won't see a DuePoint logo outside of this building. We rely on our wealth engineers to go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity, right? And so we don't need to spend the billions that the insurance industry spends on client acquisition through marketing. We can attribute that budget to the returns and rewards program to the benefit of our wealth engineers. And that's basically how our business model works compared to traditional insurance companies. Okay? We have 3 products here at DuePoint. Each benefit of each product is financial in nature. So it addresses typically the issues that we have from a personal finance point of view and an asset wealth point of view. You are free to consider one product or all 3 products. It's completely up to you. It's a personal decision. We start with Access Wealth, which is our investment product. It's called the Access Wealth Plan. It's actually broken down into 2 products. So Access Wealth Plan is made up of firstly, this tax-free investment. So it's 299 Rand a month. 100 Rand will go into the tax-free investment fund every month, right? So it's an investment product. We give you a little bit of insurance with this product. So we give you some personal accident cover to the value of 110,000 Rand with this investment. So you have this investment, 100 Rand, which is the minimum contribution. You can go up to 2,500 Rand contribution every month if you want to, but it starts out at 100. We'll go into the investment, and for example, from the insurance point of view, if you are killed in some form of accident, a car accident, or you are hijacked, or whatever the case, we'll pay out your beneficiaries 110,000 Rand plus whatever's in the investment. The investment fund is also a no restriction notice period investment. That means you can draw the investment out at any stage. You don't have to give us 30 days notice or 60 days notice. It takes us about 72 hours to process your withdrawal. Okay, so it's fully flexible. The second product is called Wealth Guard. This is strictly an insurance product. So this is only insurance. It's 274 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. The beauty of our personal accident cover products, now what's important to know, it's not funeral cover. This isn't life insurance, right? Those products profile you from a health risk point of view. So what I mean by that is if you go to an insurance company and say, I want life insurance, I'm 70 years old and I've got cancer, guess what your premium is going to be, right? It excludes a massive amount of the population because of that profiling. Our products only pay you in the event of death through accident, so not through illness, not through natural causes. The beauty of that is that we can offer this product to anyone. Anyone over the age of 18. You can be 60, you can be 80, you can be diabetic, you can have cancer. The premium remains the same and the amount of cover that you receive remains the same. So it becomes accessible to everybody. So that's the insurance product. The third product and last product is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program. So the aim of Wealth Points is to save us money on the money that we spend every month anyway. So if you look at the list of suppliers there, I bet you spend money with at least one of those suppliers every month, right? Because we've gone out and selected suppliers that we typically spend money with. We've approached these suppliers. For 274 Rand a month, you get to enjoy the discounts we've negotiated with those companies. So, for example, we've got Always On Wi-Fi Data, which is one of our more recent partners. They typically sell a gig of data for 100 Rand, right? Through Wealth Points, you get it for 37 Rand. So that's nearly a 67% discount, right? So the discounts vary with each of the partners you'll need to phone client service or look on our website, and we'll explain each of those. But if you're looking for immediate benefit, WealthPoints is a great product to go with. All right, and on that note, we've got a dev seminar, so I think I'm going to explain it a little later, but our dev seminar, our training tomorrow is on our products. So we go into the products in depth. Sorry, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. On Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Okay. If you have any questions around the products, come speak to me. I'll answer any questions that you might have. So what is the decision typically we faced with this evening? For me, I like to sum it up very simply. This is something I saw when I was watching an Elon Musk interview. Again, we speak about this romantic notion people have around entrepreneurship. The decision for me is that if you want to create recurring income, if you want to change your circumstance, if you want to go with your family on a business class trip every single year for the rest of your life, you have to work for it. You have to realistically, in your head, be prepared to deal with the downside of entrepreneurship. And I know I've been criticized for this. I warn people too much. What's the word, right? I don't gloss the opportunity perhaps enough, but I'm not that type of person. Anyone that glosses offering to me, I'm like, there's no downside to this opportunity. I don't trust the guy. Right? So I'm being very realistic about it. I've started businesses in the past that have been successful, that have failed. Brendan's done the same. His father's done the same, and I can tell you now, it requires hard work. There's no other way around it. So in your minds this evening, the decision is, are you willing to do the work to achieve the rewards? It's as simple as that. Can you hold yourself accountable to the time that it requires? So when I mentioned that the business is flexi time, you can decide when you want to do the business. But unless you're doing the business regularly and you're engaged in the business regularly and keeping yourself accountable to either bringing 2 people into the business every month or 4 people or whatever it is, you're kind of wasting your time. So that is the decision for me, right? And I think the decision for most of us in the room is this worth it? Is this worth the work? Joining is very straightforward. Read our code of conduct. It is our contract with you, or the contract you have with us, that defines what you can and cannot do as wealth engineers. And then joining is very straightforward. Becoming a wealth engineer, you register online, so you can do that on our website. Click on the big blue apply button on our homepage, or the person that invited you here will be able to do it on the phone, or you can do it on one of the iPads here, whatever. Do it online, takes you 7 minutes, you become a wealth engineer. Then start applying yourself to this business, because now you have engaged in a business that you have ownership over. You need to apply yourself. We've got 7 basic videos. They're an hour each that explain every facet of this business and how to build a channel of distribution. Right? Go watch it. It's 7 hours of your life that I'm asking you to invest in your business. It's for free. So do the training. Set goals for yourself. This is probably one of the most overlooked aspects of business and life, I think. You need to set goals for yourself. Put a stick in the sand and say, that's where I want to be in a year's time. Write it on the fridge. Tell your children that this is the goal. Let them hold you accountable to it, right? Don't fantasize before you're falling asleep and saying, oh, I wish I had these things. Write it down somewhere for yourself. Prepare a plan to get there. If you can get to rank 1, you can get to any rank. Prepare the plan. That is keeping yourself accountable, the small tasks. What do you have to do every day to reach that goal? And then start talking to people. Don Landon, one of the wealth engineers we showcased from PE, he summed it up beautifully. He said, this business is so simple. No one had to bring CVs. There's no products involved. You don't have to sell. Like, what more do you want? But if you're not speaking to someone every day about this business, you're not doing the business. Right? Isn't that the truth? Exactly. Speak to somebody every day. Task yourself with that. That's as easy as it is to get started. We've got merchandise. This is not a profit center for us. These are tools to help you build your businesses. Like I said, the importance of business cards. Please consider buying business cards. Right? So we can supply them for you. They cost just over 600 Rand. You get 500 business cards. They are foremost in any business proposition, right, is to have business cards. You can't write your name and number on a scrap piece of paper and say, here, I've got the best business in the world for you to join. Just phone me then. Doesn't work like that. USB sticks. So we've got all our videos on the USB sticks. If you don't want to spend money on data, get the USB sticks. They're very convenient. You can plug them into TVs nowadays. All the other general merchandise, those pins represent people earning money in our business. So when you get to rank 1, you can get one of those pins for yourself. So if you look around the room, if you're going to go ask anyone for advice, just look at their lapels. If they don't have a pin, it means they're still part of the rank 0 club. right? So you want to ask advice from people with pins. The bigger and the shinier the pin, the smarter those people are about the business, right? So when you get to rank 1, make sure you get one of those pins. They are very cost effective, they're not expensive. The merchandise is in the cabinet, the pricing's on the counter, the credit card machine has been warmed up for everybody in the room, okay? So get stuck in. Once you be joined, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So as you notice, we live stream every single presentation out to the entire country, live all the time. So it'll notify you if you subscribe to our channel. Say live stream starting in 30 minutes. It'll tell you every time we upload a new video. Did everyone notice that we put up 2 videos this week, right? Am I good looking in that video? Did I look good? We didn't have budget for makeup artists, so I had to do my own makeup for that video. But we've uploaded 2 videos, right? So they're updated intro presentations. So it's the same presentation I'm giving you now. Instead of 50 minutes, I do it in 15 minutes. Caters to your prospecting. Because when you say to someone, I want to show you the business, they say, okay, it sounds interesting. You say, how much time do you have? I've got 15 minutes. Great. I'm going to show you Rob. Doesn't have makeup on, but take a look anyway. Right? Brendan's also got a video. That version's been uploaded, 20 minutes long. So you probably want to watch the shorter version. Download the mobile app. This is your primary tool of business. It runs on your smartphone. So it goes without saying you need a smartphone to be involved in this business. Right? Download the mobile app. Update your profile photo. So that's my good-looking boss. Notice, no duck lips, no sunglasses. It's not on Tinder. It's a business profile. Please take the photo because we give you 1,000 XP the moment you update your profile photo. I still see all these wealth engineers. I can see whether you've taken a photo or not. I look in the system. So many people haven't taken their photo. Why not? Right? Everyone tuning in the live stream. Take the photo. Get it done. I promise you won't crack the screen. Just take the photo. 1,000 XP waiting for you. How much XP do you need for rank 1? A smile away. Some don'ts that I want to highlight. The business has been designed and targeted to people that will thrive in the business and have the resources to thrive in our business. So we often get criticized, oh, why can't unemployed people, why can't people with no money join the business? Because they don't have the resources to run a channel of distribution, right? So if you don't have, or you can't afford one of our products, you don't have the resources to be in this business. If you don't have access to data or the internet, or you don't have a smartphone, you are lacking the resources to thrive in a business like this. If you don't have access to transport, again, you're lacking in terms of the resources to thrive in this business. We want to hit a target market that can thrive in this business. We don't want to burden the burdened, right? So it goes without saying, when you go prospecting, don't get people that don't have the resources to do this business. You're just going to burden them, all right? Don't complete a DuePoint application form on behalf of somebody else. You can assist people doing it, by all means, but you cannot click and agree to the contract that they're going to be faced with and the decisions they're faced with while they're going through the application form. That is illegal. It's actually fraudulent to do that. Don't add direct family members that are living in your household into your channel. We call it stacking, and we have an anti-stacking rule, and it's very straightforward. It's black and white. If you have family members in your household, in your house, at the same address, they can't be in your channel because you're sharing the cost of living, and unfortunately in the past we've had so much manipulation that happens in those instances, so we've outlawed it. Don't start your own DuePoint Facebook page. Oh my word, this last week's been wonderful. Friday I had some person start DuePoint Johannesburg Facebook page. Then yesterday I had someone start DuePoint Products Facebook page. And when you engage with these people, they don't know what you're talking about. The guy told me today, I didn't start this. Someone else took my phone and started this on Facebook. It's my bugbear, right? You're breaking financial services regulation. So you cannot publicize, advertise, or market DuePoint, our subsidiaries, third parties, Constantia. You can't do any of that on Facebook. You can mention DuePoint on your personal Facebook page, right? But you cannot advertise us. You can't go to the Roodepoort Classifieds group on Facebook and say, I've got a job for everybody, and mention DuePoint. You can't do that. So don't do it. Just leave Facebook alone. It doesn't work anyway. Okay. Don't send leads or prospects anywhere, let alone head office, unattended. there is a certain requirement of responsibility, of professionalism around treating your prospects. We have to treat all our prospects equally, with an equal amount of responsibility, respect, professionalism, because you don't know who you're prospecting. You might look at somebody and go, they're going to be great for my business. They are star salesmen in my business. How many times have I heard that story only for that person to be let down? You don't know who you're prospecting. You will bring a stranger into your business and that person will shoot the lights out, right? Treat everyone with the same respect. Don't send people to head office unattended. We get people walking in here going, I found this guy Bob on Facebook sent me to head office and he said Brendan or Rob will take care of me. This is your business you're trying to run, right? So this point speaks to that responsibility. Okay, so don't do that. Reminder, 10th of February is our inaugural awards evening. We call it Converge 2018. It is by invitation only, and only rank 4s and up get invited. This should serve as motivation to get to rank 4 before the end of this month. So I hope you're all well aware of this fact, and I hope you're all gunning for that, and I hope everyone has bought their tickets. Jane came to complain to me today that there are rank 4s that haven't even responded to her. Only a handful, but I don't know, right? What can you do? So our dev seminar on Saturday is around products. So that's what we were speaking about earlier. 9 a.m. on Saturday, products dev seminar, an hour, an in-depth review on each of our products. So as a wealth engineer, even though you're not going to be selling our products and really talking about our products, you are by all means allowed to give factual information about our products, right? So you can do that. That speaks to the dev seminar. So know the products inside out so that you can answer any questions around products, right? Empower yourselves in terms of this business. Know every aspect. So make sure you tune into the training or come here for the training, and it'll be on YouTube straight after. So by 10 a.m. it'll already be on YouTube if you didn't watch it live. Okay. Guys, I remind each of you, we've got 11 months until our next rank 9 trip. Let that serve as motivation for you. That is great motivation. I promise you. Go speak to some of the rank 9s. We've got Rena and Malcolm here. We've got Patrick and Pumi. They came on our rank 9 trips. Go ask them what the trip was like. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Business class. You can't touch the seat in front of you with your foot. Right? I'm 6'3". I hate economy class. I curse it every time, but I can't afford business class unless DuePoint's paying. Let DuePoint pay. Let that serve as motivation this year. I remind you, the only person that can design their futures, design their destinies, yourselves. So take it with both hands. It's on offer, right? And we will support you the entire way. This business is about collaboration. All of us are heading the same direction, with the same energy, the same passion. So get involved. If you have any questions, come speak to me. I thank you for your time this evening, and I hope everyone has a wonderful 2018. Thank you.